What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Swigger, and I have my co-commentator Alex right beside me. We are just about to get into match number 4 of Week 3, day number 1 of the Toronto eSports League of Legends Tournament, Flashpoint Esports versus Savage Squad. We have Flashpoint Esports on the blue side, while Savage Squad is over on the red side. They got connected very, very quickly, so we're going to get into this as soon as possible with the pick and bans. Alex, what can we expect from the pick and bans?
Pick and bans. We can expect some jungle bans, possibly, maybe a Nidalee coming out. Didn't expect a Zillion.
Whoa! That's probably a targeted ban, I would think. Normally you wouldn't see that being banned out.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. Soraka, new Soraka, I'm actually not sure how strong it is. It's pretty similar, but opting not to play against that one. No.
So I'm not entirely sure what else they're gonna. I doubt we're gonna see another Kog'Maw coming in, knowing how powerful it is. That seems to be a ban that is fairly common throughout most games.
Yeah. In addition, some top lane bans are also pretty common right now. Fiora, Nautilus, and yeah, Lee Sin always an option.
Yeah, Malphite being banned out as well. It looks like right now Flashpoint is spending a lot of time probably just talking about the types of bans they want, while the red team seems to know exactly what they want to ban. They're doing this very, very quickly, but looks like they just want to take their time, make sure that their bans are appropriate and exactly what they want to have banned, whether they be targeted or just generally good picks.
Yeah, the way that this is going so far, still Nidalee available, who is,
And you were just about to talk about it.
I was going to say if she doesn't get banned, she'll probably go through, as she's probably one of the stronger junglers right now. But we have seen Udyr banned out, I believe, in our previous 3 games, and so far, no Udyr banned, so maybe we'll get to see some Udyr action.
You always love seeing different things, right? It's always been great being able to see the Kog'Maw and the one previously, and then we got to see a Jackson, a Jhin. Hopefully we get to see something different this game, because it does get a little bit boring when you're commentating and watching games that just have your standard picks that are really good right now. You like seeing these guys at the top tier definitely bringing out some of their own unique champions and seeing how they play it. So you could very well see in Udyr this game, you could see one of 100 champions that could come out here, but it looks like they might be opting for that Graves.
Yeah, with that Nidalee banned, Graves and Gragas are 2 of the stronger junglers, along with maybe Elise. So we might see some of those 3 coming out. And yeah, none of the top lane bans that we talked about actually went through. So Nautilus still available. Poppy also pretty strong up there. And as we said, the Fiora still up. So she can split push against that Nautilus until the very, very late, or until the late game when Nautilus gets tanky enough to withstand. Wow,
it is the last game. It's the last game of the day. You know,
take it away.
It's been a long day for both of us. A lot of talking. But Teemo being hovered, I think this has been hovered every single game nearly, and we haven't actually seen a Teemo yet, but I really doubt that Daredevil's going to be the one to lock this thing in, but we do have the Nautilus coming out in the top lane. It could also be a support or a jungler for the blue side, but most likely going to be seeing it in its strongest role being up in the top lane, but the Janna being locked in, Daredevil picking that one up, and
not Janna and Amumu together.
Yep, this could be... No, they do. So it looks like we're going to have a jungle Amumu with the Janna. One of the issues I think that we're kind of discussing previously about kind of like a Gragas and an Amumu is that you need the people to be grouped up in order for Curse of the Sad Mummy to have its maximum effectiveness, but the Janna pushes people away and possibly screws up an Amumu engage if it's not coordinated appropriately. So this is going to show a lot of coordination between this Savage Squad to see how this all pans out.
Yeah, it's kind of like you have that team fight set up and you just have that Janna ultimate, the Monsoon there for a get out of jail free reset. And then even if Amumu still has his ult, you can kind of reset, stay at the tower or stay at the objective, and then try and angle back in with that Curse of the Sad Mummy.
I think we've all also been there where we've accidentally Janna ulted when we probably shouldn't have and saved a couple members of the enemy team during a team fight. Just something that happens, but we're not top tier players. These guys are, so hopefully we're going to see some fairly solid Janna mechanics. But looks like the blue side locking in that Caitlyn for the ADC and probably a Morgana as a support. But once again, Morgana being one of those flex picks that could very well be in the mid lane, but once again, most likely to be played as a support in the bot lane.
Yeah, Caitlyn and Morgana together, the double range is pretty deadly. You have a lot of poke and threat with the Morgana snare, and you can follow it up with a Kate trap. In addition, that Black Shield just keeps Kate really safe because she's already has such a long range. So staying far away and having that Black Shield available for her is pretty deadly.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, the one thing that I kind of can note is that you're right now on the blue side missing certain amounts of damage. You have fairly sustained damage coming out of the Caitlyn auto attacks, a little bit of sustained damage coming out of the Nautilus and the Morgana. I'm wondering if we're going to see something a little bit more kind of burst heavy, or something, a real damage carry coming out of possibly the mid lane for this blue side. But once again, Teemo being hovered, not getting picked in. Once again, just tugging at our heartstrings.
Yeah. Could be a Lissandra coming through here. Really good combo with the Morgana and the Nautilus, just adding more AoE CC and lockdown with that ultimate there.
Absolutely. So we have the Ahri locked in for the mid lane on Savage Squad, and also the Lucian ADC. Two very, very strong picks. Ahri just being one of those champions that's never really fallen off of the Rift in terms of reviability in the mid lane. Provides a lot of damage, some great CC coming out with her charm, but also the mobility coming out of her Spirit Rush is just one of those things that it makes her very, very hard to deal with once she hits level 6. Very, very difficult to gank as well, but somebody like a Lissandra in the mid lane is very good against an Ahri, because being able to Frozen Tomb the Ahri prior to her ulting, walking up and getting your W off to freeze her, she's frozen for about 4 seconds there. But looks like we might be hovering over the Zed.
I'm going to call another Lee Sin here.
Another Lee Sin. So once again, Alex putting his prophet hat on
the Lee Sin. Whoa, no, what?
Whoa.
Two mid laners.
Is it a jungle Nautilus?
Jungle Nautilus. So
it is a jungle.
Top lane, Zed in the middle.
Yep, so that definitely had us going. So it looks like it's going to be a jungle Nautilus with, probably Lissandra up in the top lane and then Zed in the middle. Zed being one of the champions that is fairly decent against an Ahri, but the thing is,
it's a bit of a skill matchup.
It is definitely a skill matchup, and the one thing that you have to kind of note is I always find my matchups in the mid lane against Zed based on the champion that, are you okay with building Zhonya's Hourglass early? And Ahri is not that bad with having a Zhonya's Hourglass fairly early into the matchup, and once you have that item, it becomes a lot more difficult for the Zed, because your ultimate damage just kind of goes to the wayside. You can't really follow up on your ultimate, and then Ahri can use her Spirit Rush to just kind of dash away from the fight. So, going to be a little bit interesting, but right now we're hovering over, well, we hovered the Singed, which I would have loved to see, but now we're kind of hovering over a Yasuo. These guys just really want to play us for fools on this one, but if they lock in the Yasuo, it's going to be a Yasuo top lane against the Lissandra.
It could be the Zed in the top lane as well. Both Lissandra and Zed can swap it up there. So we'll just have to keep an eye on who takes it, because they are in the order of their positions. So right now,
so one thing
Lissandra
one thing we can at least talk about is the fact that we have double tornadoes coming out of the purple team, right? We have the tornadoes coming out of the Yasuo and also from the Janna. Definitely like seeing that, but the only synergy that Yasuo has with the knockup is going to be coming out of him and from Janna. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see how the Yasuo positions himself in these fights to make sure that he gets the most, I was going to say ultimate, but that works. I'll go with it.
Yeah, but you see both, and you just kind of say, which one do you dodge, both tornadoes, and either one is going to provide Yasuo with that knockup. Yep. So they only have the 2 knockups to provide Yasuo with the ultimate proc, but with the Amumu, it's going to hold him all in place for Yasuo to, land his own, or Janna to follow up.
Absolutely. So we're just going to be getting on to the Rift for this one, guys. This is, once again, our last game of the night. Flashpoints eSports versus Savage Squad. The last game of the Week 3, Day 1 of the Toronto eSports League of Legends Tournament. Guys, if you do have time, click that follow button on Twitch. It will definitely let you know on your phones when these guys go live to actually see the tournaments when they are played live. Also, follow them on their Facebook page if you want to get updates about League of Legends tournaments and things of that nature. Definitely a good place to get that information. We're going to be back in just a couple minutes while we wait for this delay to pick up, but we'll be back with Flashpoint eSports versus Savage Squad in just a few minutes. Stay with us. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Swigger, and I have my co-commentator Alex with me. We are getting into our final match of the Toronto eSports League of Legends tournament, Flashpoint Esports versus Savage Squad. Gonna quickly just go down the Keystone Masters here. Yasuo with his,
Warlord's
Bloodlust. I was gonna say the Death Touch thing, and also going against the Lysandra, who has the Thunderlord Decree. Thunderlord Decree also on the Zed. Looks like the Ahri running Thunderlords as well. Morgana running Thunderlords, a whole bunch of Thunderlords. The junglers seem to be running their Strength of the Age, which is fairly standard, and it looks like Fervor on the Caitlyn with Thunderlords onto the Lucian, which are once again just some fairly standard things that we saw there. But sadly, these loading screens are just so dang quick.
Wind Speakers on the Janna, however, so her ultimate's going to have 10% bonus healing and providing the armor and MR bonus.
Does it affect the shield as well? I believe it does.
Yeah, actually, that's a good point. So 10% bigger shield. And also, actually, I don't know if the bonus is on healing or shielding or both.
I think that it definitely affects healing. I know that, but I'm questioning whether or not it provides additional to shield. Might just be shield. Sorry, heals.
A bit broken, I think, if you had a shield. Every shield giving also armor and MR.
Yeah, could very well be
pretty
overpowered.
Strong.
But it looks like Savage Squad, of course, doing exactly what they need to do, which is spam a lot of different things.
As many buttons as you can.
Absolutely. This is what I do at the beginning of every game. See, you know what? A lot of people might look at this and just think that they're screwing around, but, this is actually warming up their fingers. They're just spamming those abilities, making sure that their fingers are all warmed up. That way they can hit all the skills that they're going to need.
Yeah, that's why I put the mastery button on I bound it to my mouse, just for the easy access,
Very nicely done on that one. But we seem to have some fairly standard starts after a couple games where we did have a lot of early level 1 invades. This is finally a game where everybody's just kind of content standing at their own entrances near their lane. Very standard start. And people are just going to be kind of going and doing their own thing with standard jungle routes, it seems. Nautilus starting up at his own Gromp, and it looks like the Amumu starting down on his blue jungle side, starting off with that Gromp as well. So it's just a very standard start, but a very important thing to note is that the Morgana and the Caitlyn are currently taking down these Krugs. I'm surprised that the Caitlyn actually isn't standing in the brush. Yeah. This is something that I'm noticing here, is that the headshot... Do you want to walk us through that headshot mechanic?
Yeah, so as she... stacks up her headshot, which is just through her auto attacks, she can unleash a more powerful headshot after a certain number of attacks, 6. But she gets 2 stacks for each one that comes from a bush. So when you're killing those Krugs, you do want to stand in the bush and pull it over to that bush there to get the bonus damage from the Caitlyn.
So you kill it quicker, you take less damage. Now the lucky thing for the Caitlyn is that she did manage to get in range of her Piltover Peacemaker, and they didn't lose any minions for it. They're going for that fairly quickly the quick level 2 engagement, but sadly the Dark Binding missing, and they're not really going to be able to make anything happen from this. But as I was saying, the Caitlyn did manage to get to lane early enough that she didn't lose any farm because of the slower Krug take.
Level 2 gank.
But level 2 gank coming out of the Nautilus. Nothing really going to happen from this one, though. There was no vision, but I guess Yasuo's spider senses were just tingling, even though it wasn't an Elise coming for him. I guess, I don't know, subaquatic human senses?
Yeah, that's a lot of time missed out farming, though.
Absolutely. So it's already a 14-7 CS lead in favor of Lysandra, but you wasted a little bit of Nautilus this time. He has to take a very long walk back through his jungle to now get to his wolves to start taking those things down to get a little bit more farm in his pocket, but all in all, some fairly good play coming from both sides right now.
Yeah, we're probably just going to see, standard lanes until we can see a gank. Not much solo kill opportunities for either here. Both Zed and Ahri, we said it's a skill matchup, and one of them has to kind of make a mistake for the other to get a kill, so we won't see any aggression there, I'm sure, until level 6.
The one thing that we can say, though, this is the first game that we're seeing there is real kill potential, solo kill potential up in the top lane in this game.
Yeah, it's going to be a brawl up top. They're both going to be going at each other. Lots of outplay potential as well, because we have that wall mechanic with the lot of abilities from Lysandra. Both her E and Q can get blocked.
Yep. So it's something we're going to have to focus on, because it's not something like we've seen before with Malphite and Nautilus or things like that. We did see a Jax last time, but looks like the Amumu is kind of coming in, pinging for that Lysandra. level 3 gank with double buff. There is no vision, but she did just barely spot the Amumu. The bandit shot is not going to land. They should have probably waited for that tornado to land first. Might have been able to guarantee that bandit shot, but once again, just great juking coming out of the Lysandra, making sure she did not get caught by that Amumu. But look at the damage coming out from the Zed. Going to be enough, I guess, just a little bit of a misstep from the Ahri, taking a lot of damage and getting ignited.
Not even exhausting.
The flash coming out as well from the Zed. So is that something that should happen? The Ahri still has her exhaust and her flash. I'm actually going to ask you about that in a second as we have the Nautilus coming down in the bot lane, it looks like, on the mini-map.
Bot lane.
There we are.
There it is.
But it looks like the dredge line is going to land the heal
catch.
coming out as well, but it is going to be a death. We got there just in time to find the tail end of that one. But Janna being caught out once again. Flash and exhaust being available, but looks like a dark binding followed by a dredge line from the Nautilus is going to be enough to take that Janna down. But as I was talking about before, and what I wanted to ask you was, is there any chance that Ahri should have died, but she has an exhaust and a flash still available on a Zed?
Yeah, sometimes you don't want to use your summoners because if you know you're going to die anyway, we do see a dive coming down here on the Lucian, 3-on-1.
Nautilus is going to have to lock this guy down. It looks like the TP coming in from the Yasuo to try to clean this one up. Caitlyn is going to get the last attack, but it looks like the Yasuo, the flash coming out of the Caitlyn as well, and the lockdown coming down, but it looks like he's going to be able to use his E. A great dredge line coming in as well to bring him back, and the teleport being threatened by, I don't even know, it was the Lysandra who was going to be able to TP down there, but just a great dredge line followed by an auto attack from the Nautilus, making sure that the Yasuo could not just E through all of those minions and get to the Caitlyn, who didn't have a flash and didn't have a heal available, but 3-0 currently, only 5.5 minutes, but we already have the Zed going right in onto this Ahri again. She does have exhaust and flash available again, but once again, not opting to
just
use
it
anything.
Earlier. Yeah, as I was saying before, I mean, there's times when you don't want to use your summoners. If you're 100% dead, for example, that Lucian down bottom, maybe not wanting to use the summoners, 3-on-1 dive. If you don't think you can make an outplay, just save them until next time, but in a solo kill situation, you might as well toss out the exhaust early on. You know, there's no harm in tossing it out. Yeah, you lose a summoner cooldown, but you're not going to be giving up a kill. And if you can just survive until that's up, then you're even.
And it was the second time that it happened.
Yeah,
we could have said that the first time. This is now, you should have learned from that
and
kind of mistake.
Down bottom, Janet not using her flash or exhaust, and she got caught out as well. So
yep.
So three kills could have been avoided, at least delayed until later on when you come for the repeat gank with no flash cooldown. But
absolutely, and now we're sitting on an ultimate from Zed, currently level 7 to Ahri's level 5. So
yeah, that lane is going to snowball out of control. I mean, 2 kills early on like that just gives so much power for that Zed. So if he's able to follow up with the ultimate and chase down the Ahri after the Spirit Rush, he'll be able to dish out enough damage to get the kill. Not building Zhonya's first, as you said she might go. I think this is the maybe the Janna having connectivity issues there. We saw her just standing still in the bottom lane.
Yeah, could very well be. It just like happened last game. You know, the one thing about this tournament is that it's not a LAN tournament. We don't have everybody here playing on the same server or the same network. We do have people from all across the GTA currently playing together from their home computers and things like that. So, you know, connectivity issues, I don't know, snowstorm, angry parents who don't want you to play video games anymore. Any of these things can be a factor that can stop your internet. But hopefully we're going to have these games going on fairly quickly. It looks like we're already on the countdown. So just needed to switch up a couple settings, it seemed, on one of their computers. And we're now back to the action. But as we were kind of discussing before, is that the Ahri now being level 5 and not opting to build that Zhonya's Hourglass early. Looks like she's going for that early Morellonomicon for the additional damage and cooldown reduction. But is going to run the risk of just being fully dove by this Zed and just being taken down every single time. But a little bit of action happening in the top lane, but the Lysandra did decide to back off a little bit and maybe just a few too many minions to deal with.
Yeah, well, but as you say that, big fight up top.
The Lysandra managing to get her Ice Claws just out at the right time, but the Yasuo showing a little bit of fancy footwork trying to escape that one and get a kill onto the Lysandra. But we do have the Amumu here, the Thunderlord's proc, and here goes the ultimate from the Zed, but the Amumu is here. Great ultimate coming from the Zed is going to be enough to pick up the Ahri, just getting enough damage and also baiting out the Curse of the Sad Mummy.
And the flash.
That was just the reaction time on this Zed. Yeah. I wish I could do that.
Pretty confident play to go for that Curse of the Sad Mummy there, because even though they did nerf that Zed a little bit with the going back to your shadow, it's still fast enough to dodge a flash Curse of the Sad Mummy.
Absolutely. And it looks like just down in the bot lane, I believe it was, so the Ace and the Hole coming down, but we do have the Nautilus jungle coming down onto this Yasuo, and that is going to be a kill. The CC coming out of this team, but it just happened to be that the Caitlyn and the Morgana happened to hit level 6 prior to the Lucian and the Janna, so the Ace and the Hole damage coming out after a whole bunch of poke coming out of the Caitlyn was enough to take down the Janna for the second death for the Janna and first kill of the game in favor of the Caitlyn, but we're just seeing now we're now seeing in all lanes an advantage for Flashpoint Esports.
Yeah, that duo combo with the Nautilus and Lissandra might be the combo with the most CC in the game for 2 members. I can't think of anyone else that has more. I mean, you have 3 on each. Nautilus has Dredge Line, Ultimate, Passive, and the Slow on his E. Yep. And then Lissandra has Ultimate, W, slow on Q. And then a mobility on the E. So, I mean, if they do ever team up, there's not one person that's going to be able to get away. It's around 8 seconds or more if you count the slows of CC.
Yeah, you could sit there for a prolonged period of time thinking about every place that you screwed up during that lane prior to you actually being released from their grasps on that one. But currently we're sitting at 7-0 in favor of Flashpoint Esports, 16.2k to 12.3k at just 9.5 minutes into this game. And what we kind of talked about before, just in terms of the advantages that this team currently has, is spread of kills. Normally when you see, but we're actually just going to talk about the exact combo that you love so much, the amount of CC onto this Yasuo, just nothing you can do about it. Being locked down for like 10 seconds and it's just going to get beaten on.
There actually is nothing you can do about it. Nothing. You need, even with a QSS, if they are waiting for your QSS and you use it too early and they still have CC available, then they're just going to be able to stack more.
Yep, so it looks like we're finally meeting the junglers in the jungle of Amumu, but it looks like the red buff is definitely going to help out. It is actually Amumu's red buff that's currently killing him, but another Curse of the Sad Mummy missing, but it looks like the Nautilus ultimate is going to come out. The Zed ultimate going to go down onto the Ahri as well, but there we go, the exhaust, and it keeps Ahri alive. Would you look at that?
That's what it's there for.
That is what it's there for. So it's just, I hate to see it because, you know, I love the Amumu pickup. I think it's a great jungler to have on a team like this. But the Curse of the Sad Mummies it just looks like Flashpoint Esports are just a little bit ahead, just a couple seconds ahead of this Amumu with his thought process. And it's just meaning that these Curse of the Sad Mummies, which is such a huge cooldown, especially in the early game.
Yeah, it's about
they're just not missing.
Just under 2 minutes, I believe. So you really want to make sure your first one is a solid gank. And now he's had 2 that didn't work out for him. I usually like taking that to the bottom lane just for the AoE it provides, because having it available to use on 2 members and then you can follow up your bandage toss is always a strong move. But he's opting to go for more of a mid lane focused approach just because he's trying to help out his Ahri, but sometimes you just got to abandon those losing lanes and try and focus on somebody else. Yeah, snowball somebody else. Try and get an advantage in a cross-map play.
But the problem is, Alex, that I'll kind of bring up here is that when we were talking about kill spread previously, Lissandra 101, Nautilus 302, Zed 400, 102 on the Caitlyn as well, even 0, 1, and 2 on the Morgana. Everybody on the team is fed, but it looks like Zed is just going straight in onto the Amumu, even at almost a quarter HP, is just going to use that shadow, get right back into the face of Amumu, even without an ultimate, and is going to pick up his 5th kill of the game. So what lane do you snowball at this point? Because even looking at the CS scores, 98 to 69 for Lissandra, 104 to 55 for the Zed, and 105 to 78 in favor of the Caitlyn. Zed picking up his 6th kill of the game. Like, what lane do you go to now to snowball? All of your lanes need help.
Yeah, that's the problem sometimes. When you can't snowball any lanes, you just kind of... Wow.
So here goes Lissandra going just completely out onto this, and there's the Frozen Tomb going to just lock her down, but it looks like the ultimate coming down from the Yasuo. A nice amount of return damage. The shield coming out once again, but the W going to miss from Lissandra, but once again, the cooldown on that Q is so low and the damage is so high, it's going to be enough to pick up the Yasuo, but a double kill also happening in the bot lane. Janna and Lucian going down to the Caitlyn, her 3rd kill of the game, and extending that CS lead to over 30 at just 13 minutes into the game. We have more kills than minutes in the game on just one team.
Perfect game. Hype.
If we can get a perfect game for this last game of Week 3, day number 1 of the Toronto eSports League of Legends tournament, that would be fantastic. That would be a great way to go out.
Yeah. Although, as we say that, coming in on the low HP Lissandra, here comes the gank.
She doesn't have a lot of mana either, but she could definitely get her claw out here. But nope, the Amumu is getting... Hey, a Curse of the Sad Mummy landed! Picking up the kill. Kill secured with that. I think he's probably just a little bit frustrated that those things haven't landed previously, and he was going to get that kill no matter what. So
that's their first kill of the game, so whatever it takes at this point, you want to get something.
Yep, we did see that the Janna disconnected,
and
so...
Oh my god, that timing.
That is the worst time for a pause to happen. The Ghost Blade has been activated. Yasuo just looks like a sick or wounded gazelle in the savannah, and it looks like the tiger that is Zed is just about to pounce. I feel really bad.
The timing on that pause, it's like when, you save it until you want to think about the... you see someone coming to gank you, the Zed comes in, you're like, okay, pause.
It's like a nature documentary right now that we're going to be watching. They're pausing to see. It's like...
We saw the tiger mid-pounce.
Yeah, exactly. The noble lion is going to approach the Yasuo with his Ghost Blade activated.
He's approaching from the river, slinking in from the side.
So this is going to be pretty brutal, but we are going to get back into this one. Zed does have his ultimate available, but does not have his Ignite available.
Oh my!
Goodness gracious! He doesn't even need an Ignite or his ultimate. That was just... I'm not even happy to watch that. That is just painful to see.
Yeah, I have nothing to say about that.
So, Nautilus is going to come in here to try to catch out the Amumu. The binding is not going to land for Morgana, so he might be able to get away from this one. Not a lot of damage coming out from the Nautilus, who doesn't really have a lot of damage to begin with, but looks like the Janna is going to get caught out here a little bit. Still looking like she's dealing with some connectivity issues. It was the Janna who's disconnected twice here, but the Nautilus ultimate is going to come out, knock up the Amumu and the Ahri, but it doesn't look like they want to be too brave and go underneath that turret, which actually surprises me, because considering that you still have the Zed with his ultimate, probably could have secured a kill there.
Yeah.
But I think they're just playing safe, right? There's no point in being risky, but
yeah,
once again, the dredge line landing and the legendary Zed.
No point in using the ultimate when you can just wait 20 seconds, get another pick, and do the same thing without your ultimate.
No kidding.
Especially on the support.
8-0.
Yeah, he's just so ahead. He goes for the BF sword, flat damage.
Here we go again. We've seen this one before. There we go.
I was just about to say, probably going to ult, but that was like 30% HP with 1 Q.
And a quarter of his HP from 1 Q was
this game
unreal.
Is just chaos.
And it looks like the Ahri going down to the Caitlyn. The Curse of the Sad Mummy is not available, so they could very well try to get this Amumu down, but they're choosing, once again, play it a little bit safer. This is not solo queue. This is, in fact, an esports organization, making sure that they don't overextend, that they don't play just to wow the crowd or anything like that. They're definitely playing to win.
And they're doing a good job of it. They have those Kate traps set up, so they're going to be able to siege this tower down pretty easily, too. 15 minutes, if they can get an inhibitor here, that is huge because it is so hard to take down the super minions.
Absolutely. So 15.5 minutes into the game, we have the first inhibitor turret. The base has now been cracked. Flashpoint Esports doing a great job this game, demonstrating how strong they are in some of these champions. You have still a bunch... Oh, but here comes the ultimate from the Zed. Not going to be enough damage, I don't think. Oh, but look at that return, but here comes the... Oh my goodness. So it looks like the Caitlyn managed to pick that one up. The Amumu coming in, Curse of the Sad Mummy landing on a low health Lissandra, but is going to be able to flash away from that one. Zed now picking up a kill onto the Amumu. Looks like Ahri's going to be the next target. Exhaust going down onto the Morgana, which is the support, but looks like the back end, the true damage from the Ahri orb is not going to land onto anybody, so it looks like that was just a 2-for-0 exchange, and a lot being burned on both sides for that one, but definitely in favor of Flashpoint Esports. But while that was going on, it looks like the Lucian got to pick up a turret in the bot lane, which is at least some gold.
Some global gold.
But we're 15k in the lead.
Farm as well, but still not able to catch up to the Caitlyn. So at this point, yeah, as we said, pretty much everyone is far behind, and any fight they take is not going to be easy.
Now, I'm going to, because I can't even remember, I keep on wanting to call it like the Drakith Duskblade thing or whatever it is. I never build it, but...
Duskblade of something.
Duskblade of something. I'm going to call it Draconith because it sounds cool.
Nice.
But Zed going to pick up that one, which basically gives him his own kind of mini ultimate on top of his ultimate. Because if Zed didn't need more damage, he now has it. So a definite scary amount of damage coming out of the Zed, who's 10-0-1.
These are the games that you dream of when you pick Zed. Like you can either have those games where you go 0-5-0, can't find a kill on the map. But then there's some Zed games where if you get fed early on, it's just crazy. 10-0-1. You can just see it here.
Well, and you're seeing the comments. Look at the Morgana going into 3 members of the red side team and not even really caring about it. Just going to walk in, try to land a binding, see what you can do.
If the Black Shield is available, she can just walk out. Even if Amumu comes, he can curse to the Sad Mummy. She can just walk out.
Yep, absolutely. And of course, with the Morgana, though, not having any of her ability, but we can't even catch up to these things because they happen so quickly.
Too much damage in such a quick time that we can't even see these fights coming.
And there goes the Zed once again, flashing onto the Lucian. The ultimate coming down from the Zed as well. Is this going to be enough? The Caitlyn ultimate coming down to secure the kill, and now it looks like the Amumu without Curse of the Sad Mummy is going to be taken down as well. That's a triple kill for the Zed with the Caitlyn picking up her own kill. It's now just the Janna to defend. I don't think she's going to have a good time here, but the binding is going to land as well. The Nautilus ultimate is going to come down, and that's going to be a kill for the Morgana as well, getting her first kill of the game.
Not the game
Ladies and gentlemen, it's not quite the game yet, but there are still death timers going on. They might be able to end this off, but they're not very long death timers so far. It's still very early in this game. It's a sub 20-minute game so far, so I don't know if the red team is going to be able to come back to defend this one, but the damage going down onto the Nexus already. The Morgana's trying to land bindings to stop these guys from trying to engage on this one, but it looks like the blue team is disengaging of the Nexus, and they're going to try to pad their KDA by taking out some more kills. The Flash and Banditros with a great ultimate coming out of the Amumu might actually be able to get something here. The Ahri is going to be able to pick up the Morgana, but it looks like the Ahri is going to pay with it with her life. Lysandra picking up that Ahri, but Lucian picking up the Lysandra, and now it looks like the Zed picking up the Amumu, and now it looks like the Lucian is going to die. The ultimate coming down from the Zed, and is probably just going to go back to a Shadow. No, he's not going to try to pick off the Janna, but that was a 4-for-2 exchange, and now it looks like the Zed going in onto this Janna. Not going to have enough. Janna with the shield, keeping herself alive against the Zed, but while all this was going on, Caitlyn decides to not only get a kill and an ace onto the Janna, but is going to end the game. Ladies and gentlemen, Flashpoint Esports taking the win over Savage Squad.
30-4, not much to say there. Everyone got ahead, and lots of kills for the Zed, so fun one there for them.
Yep, so ladies and gentlemen, that was actually the last game of Week 3, day number 1 of the Toronto Esports League of Legends tournament. Hopefully you guys did enjoy that broadcast. I've been told that the videos on demand are going to be uploaded to YouTube probably by tomorrow, so if any of you guys want to check out any of the previous weeks, definitely follow and subscribe to Toronto Esports on YouTube. They do have a YouTube channel as well, which we'll probably be posting in the chat for you guys all to look at. Definitely hit that follow button on Twitch so you guys know when we go live for tournament days, which is every Wednesday and Friday for the next couple weeks at least. Definitely also follow them on Facebook, because that's where you get all of your updates in regards to League of Legends and the tournaments that's currently going on. So we had some really, really great games today, some very one-sided games as well, but hopefully you guys did enjoy the games that we played today. We will be back Friday night, same time, 8 p.m. EST. Follow these guys on Twitter, Facebook, and everything else so that way you guys can know when we go live. Thank you guys once again for tuning in. I've been Ian Twigger Franklin, and we have had Alex here as well, providing some color commentary for us. Thanks again, everybody, for watching, and we will see you guys all on Friday.